just another stitch. For those who don't know me, my name is Connie, and today we are going to make the Nothing But a Biscuit Beanie. So the beanie I'm wearing here is the Nothing But a Biscuit Beanie. I used a houndstooth stitch on this beanie, and I also did it previously in a different colorway using Christmas colors. But you can use whatever colorway that you want for this beanie. You can add a palm or keep the palm off. It's up to you. So the supplies you will need for this tutorial, you will need 4 different colors of a 4-weight yarn. For today's tutorial, I will be using Hirschner's worsted weight yarn. And the colorways I'm using is the dark gray, the medium gray, the eggplant, and lavender. And when I previously made this beanie, I used the Big Twist yarn, which is also a 4-weight yarn. You will need a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, which is the letter I. You will need scissors, a darning needle to weave in your ends, and a stitch marker to work the beginning of your round. So let's get started. Okay, you want to grab your first color. For me, I am using dark gray for color 1. And we are going to make a magic ring. So I have my end piece on the left side here. And this is the yarn that connects to my skein. And you just make a little circle like that. The yarn that connects to your skein lays on top. And I'm going to pinch where they connect. Take your working yarn that connects to your skein. Go from under the little circle and just pull it through. And leave a little flap on the side. That side flap is where you stick your crochet hook and tighten it up. I'm going to close up my loop some, it's too big. Okay. All right, so we're going to start we're going to start round 1. So you want to do your chain. And I'm going to place my stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round. So for round 1, we are going to be doing 12 double crochet stitches into the magic ring. So do your yarn over, go through the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops, 2 loops remain, yarn over, go through both your loops. And then do your second double crochet, yarn over, go through the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through both loops, yarn over, go through the remaining 2 loops. And if you notice, your end piece is wrapped, it's on the top part. Make note of that. And you go through both the ring and that end piece where you have the end piece, okay? So we have 2 stitches. Just continue doing your double crochet stitches. And we will meet back up once you have 12 double crochet stitches worked into your magic ring. I'll see you there. Okay, you should have 12 double crochet stitches worked into your magic ring. So you want to take your end piece and pull it tight to close up the gap in the center. Okay. So now we are going to slip stitch to join. So go into that stitch with the stitch marker, yarn over, and pull through everything. All right, so we have finished round 1. So for round 2, we are going to chain 1 and move our stitch marker. So for round 1, we are going to work 2 double crochet stitches into every stitch. So let's work into that first stitch, the one you just slip stitched into. There's our first. And then here's our second. And that's your repeat. Let's go into the second stitch, work our 2 double crochet stitches. There's 1. And there's 2. All right, next stitch we work 2 double crochet stitches. 1. And 2. And just keep doing this all the way around. And when you get to the end of the round, you will have 24 double crochet stitches, and we will meet back up there. Okay, you should now have 24 double crochet stitches. All right, so let's slip stitch into the first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. All right. Now for round 3, you want to chain 1, and let's move our stitch marker. The repeat for round 3 is you will do 1 double crochet in the first stitch. The following stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. And you just repeat that all the way around. All right, so let's get started. All right, the first stitch will get 1 double crochet stitch, and that is the stitch that you just slip stitched into. So let's do our double crochet. All right, next stitch we do 2 double crochet stitches. All right, there's 1. Now let's do the second one into the same stitch. And we just keep repeating this. All right, next stitch we'll get 1 double crochet. All right, now the following stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. There's 1, go back into that same stitch and do your second double crochet stitch. All right, repeat it again. Next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right, and then into the next stitch, we will work 2 double crochet stitches. All right, there's 1. Go back into that same stitch and work your second double crochet stitch. And just keep doing that all the way around. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet, the following 2 double crochets. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet, the following gets 2 double crochet stitches. And when you get to the end of this round, you should have 36 double crochet stitches. So we will meet back up there. Okay, you should now have 36 double crochet stitches. So now we are going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. All right, and for round 4, you want to do your chain 1, and let's move our stitch marker. So the repeat for round 4 is you will do 1 double crochet stitch in each one of the first 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochet stitches into the 3rd stitch. All right, so let's get started on that. All right, we're going to be working in that first stitch where you slip stitched into. 1 double crochet in that stitch. All right, then the next stitch, you will work 1 double crochet stitch. All right, now the following stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. So that's your first double crochet. Go back into that same stitch and work a second double crochet stitch. All right, and that is a repeat. Let's do it again. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right, the following stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. And then the following stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. There's 1, go back into that same stitch and work your second double crochet stitch. All right, we're going to repeat the repeat again. 1 double crochet stitch in the next stitch. All right, then the following stitch will also get 1 double crochet stitch. And then the next stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. That's 1. Go back into that same stitch and work your second double crochet stitch. All right, and you just keep doing that repeat all the way around. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. The following stitch will also get 1 double crochet stitch. And then the next stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. And you do that all the way around. And when we meet back up, you will have 48 double crochet stitches. Okay, you should now have 48 double crochet stitches. So we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. Okay, and for round 5, we're going to do our chain 1, move our stitch marker. Okay, so for round 5, you are going to be doing 1 double crochet stitch into the first 3 stitches, and then each of your first 3 stitches will each get 1 double crochet stitch, and then the 4th stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. All right, let's do this. All right, 1 double crochet into that first stitch of the round where you slip stitched into. All right, next stitch will get 1 double crochet stitch. Okay, the following stitch will also get 1 double crochet stitch. All right, and then the next stitch, which is the 4th stitch of your round, that one gets 2 double crochet stitches. All right, that's your first one. go back into that same stitch, and we do our second double crochet stitch. And that is the repeat of the round. All right, let's do this again. Next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right, the following stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. The next stitch also gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right, and then the next stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. All right, there's 1. Go back in that same stitch and do your second double crochet stitch. All right. Again, next stitch will get 1 double crochet. The following stitch also gets 1 double crochet. Oops. Let's get in there. All right, there it goes. Gets a double crochet stitch. All right. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. And the following stitch gets 2 double crochet stitches. That's your first one, and now work your second one into that same stitch. All right, so you just keep doing that all the way around. The next 3 stitches, each one of those 3 stitches, each get 1 double crochet stitch. Then the next stitch after that will get 2 double crochet stitches. And do that all the way around, and round 5 will end with 60 double crochet stitches, and we will meet back up there. Okay, you should now have 60 stitches. So we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. All right, so for round 6, we're going to chain 1, move our stitch marker, and you probably have noticed the pattern to how this section works. All right, so for round 6, the first 4 stitches will each get 1 double crochet stitch in each one of them. And then the 5th stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches into it. All right, so let's go into that first stitch of the round where the stitch you slip stitched into, and do our 1 double crochet stitch there. All right. In the following stitch, you're going to do 1 double crochet stitch. In the next stitch, you will do 1 double crochet stitch. All right. And then the following stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. Okay, so that's our 4. Then the next stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches into it. All right, there's our first one. Go back in that same stitch and work your second one. And that is the repeat for this round. All right, next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. The following stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. The next stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. And the following stitch also gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right, then the next stitch gets 2 double crochet stitches. All right, that's the first one. Go back in that same stitch, work your second one. All right, again, let's do the repeat one more time. 1 double crochet in the next stitch. The next stitch also gets 1 double crochet stitch. All right. Following stitch gets 1 double crochet stitch. And then the next stitch also gets 1 double crochet stitch. So that's your 4 stitches that each get 1 double crochet stitch in each of them. All right, so then the following stitch will get 2 double crochet stitches. All right, there's your first one. Go back into your same stitch, work your second double crochet stitch. And just keep doing that all the way around. The next 4 stitches each get 1 double crochet stitch. Then the stitch after those 4 stitches, that 5th stitch gets 2 double crochet stitches. Do that all the way around. And when we meet back up, you will have 72 double crochet stitches. I did forget to mention something for round 6. We're going to work that last stitch of the round together because we will be changing colors. So don't do the last stitch of round 6. And we'll meet back up right before that last stitch. Okay, at this point, you should have 70 double crochet stitches with 1 stitch remaining. Okay, so in that last stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochet stitches. So let's do our first double crochet. All right, let's go back into that same stitch and work our second double crochet stitch. But the last step, we're going to incorporate our new color. So yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops. So you have 2 loops remaining. And at this point, you want to cut your yarn for the first color and leave a long enough tail to weave in your end. All right, so now grab your second color of yarn, and for me, I'm using medium gray for my second color. Okay, so you want to take your second color, just lay it on top of your hook. Your end piece will be on the left. Leave a long enough of an end piece to weave in. All right, and then I take it and just pinch it and pull it through those remaining 2 loops. And now you've incorporated your second color. And now we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. If I can get it to go through. Okay, there I go. All right, I have it. And now I'm going to pull on those 2 end pieces. All right, so we have now finished round 6. And what we have done so far is the crown of the beanie. We will no longer be doing any increases. For the rest of this beanie, we will remain at 72 stitches for each round. And now that you finished round 6, you have 72 stitches. Okay, so now we're getting into round 7. All right, we're going to do our chain 1. Take your stitch marker and move it. Okay, so for round 7, we're going to be working a half double crochet in the 3rd loop. And we're going to do this in every stitch across for 72 stitches. All right, typically when you work stitches, you work through the stitch. And the front loop is the loop that faces closer to you, and the back loop is the one furthest from you. So if you turn your work, if you bend it back just a little, you'll see there's a bore right here. This is the 3rd loop. And then here's another 3rd loop right here. And right here. So it's directly behind your back loop. And that is what we're going to be working into. All right, let's get ourselves back set up. All right, so we slip stitch to join. And now you want to do a chain 1. Let's grab our stitch marker. And the stitches work basically just like a half double crochet stitch, except you go into the 3rd loop. All right, so let's yarn over and find that 3rd loop. Now we're going to want, this is a little trick that I do to weave in my ends instead of having to do them at the end of the beanie. And I find it so much easier. You take your 2 end pieces and just place them on top of your crochet hook like this. Now you yarn over. You go under the 2 end pieces and through that 3rd loop. And what remains should be 3 loops, all in your 2nd color, your new color. Now you yarn over and go through the 3 loops. All right, again, you yarn over, find your 3rd loop. Now put your end pieces on top to carry them. Yarn over, go under the end pieces and through the 3rd loop. 3 loops remain. Yarn over and go through the 3 loops. And I will show you how to do this after we finish carrying the yarn. That way you can see it better, because I know the end pieces kind of get in the way. So again, we yarn over, find your 3rd loop. Carry your end pieces. Yarn over, go through the end pieces and through the 3rd loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. All right, I'm going to continue to weave in my end off camera. And once I do that, I'll meet back up with you and show you how to do the stitch when I'm not carrying the yarn. Okay, I have weaved in my ends enough, so I'm going to trim the excess. Okay. And now I'm going to yarn over, find the third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And if you notice, you see how you have the raised stitching? See, that's your front and back loops. And that's how it's going to look. And if it doesn't look like this, then you're not doing it correctly. All right. So again, yarn over and just bend it back. Find that third loop, which is directly behind the back loop. Yarn over, go through the third loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Again, yarn over, find your third loop, yarn over, pull through the third loop, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And you just keep doing that. And we're going to work the last stitch together because we will be changing colors. So work 71 half double crochet in the third loop. And we'll meet back up to do the last one, which will give us our 72 together. Okay, you should have 71 half double crochet stitches in the third loop. So we're approaching that last stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into that third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 3 loops remaining. So we are going to take our scissors and cut our yarn, leave enough of a tail to weave in. And we are going to go back to our first color. And for me, that was, I believe, dark gray. Yeah, dark gray. So lay it on top your crochet hook. Leave a long enough tail to weave in. And your end piece should be on the left side. All right. So I just pinch it and pull it through the final 3 loops. And then I give the other end piece a tug too. All right. So now we have our 72 stitches. So I am going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And we do our chain 1. All right, let's move our stitch marker. So for round 8, we're doing the same thing that we did for round 7. We're doing half double crochet in the third loop again. So just yarn over, find your third loop, and carry your 2 end pieces, lay it on top of your hook, yarn over, go under the end pieces and through the third loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops, and do that again, yarn over, find your third loop, carry your end pieces on top, yarn over, go under the end pieces and through the third loop, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3, and we just keep doing this all the way around, just like you did for round 7. So you're going to work 71 stitches, and then we'll meet back up and do the last stitch together because we will be changing colors again. Okay, you should have 71 stitches and 1 stitch remaining. So we're going to yarn over, go through that third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops remain. You're going to cut your yarn, which I did already. Grab your second color, and for me, it's medium gray. All right, I like to give the end piece a pull. All right, so you just place your yarn on top your hook. Your end piece should be on the left side. Leave a long enough tail to weave in. And then I pinch it and pull it through the remaining 3 loops. All right, now I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. All right, so we finished round 8. All right, so for round 9, you chain 1, and we're doing the same thing we did for round 7 and 8. Half double crochet in the 3rd loop of each stitch. All right, so just move your stitch marker. All right, so we yarn over, find your 3rd loop, carry your 2 end pieces on top, yarn over, go under the 2 end pieces and through the 3rd loop. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Again, yarn over, find your 3rd loop, carry your end pieces, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the 3 loops. And you just keep doing this until you weave in your end pieces, give them a trim, and then continue doing the stitches without having to carry the yarn, the end pieces on top. All right. And you will work 71 stitches. We will meet back up and do the last stitch together. We will be changing colors again, and things will be changing after this round. Okay, you should have 71 stitches now. So and 1 stitch remaining. And we're going to work our half double crochet in the 3rd loop in that last stitch. So yarn over, go through that 3rd loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain on the hook. Now you want to cut your yarn, leave a long enough tail to weave in. And now we're going to grab our 3rd color, color 3, and I'm using eggplant for my 3rd color. All right, so give a good yank here. Lay your new yarn on top of the hook, your end piece on the left side, leave a long enough tail to weave in, give it a pinch, and pull through those 3 loops to finish the stitch off. And now we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round to join. And that completes round 9. Now round 10 and 11, we're going to be repeating 4 times. We're going to do these rows 4 times. And this is going to be the houndstooth stitch that we're going to be doing for these rounds. So round 10 and 11, we'll do those rounds 4 times. All right, so let's move our stitch marker. Oh, I forgot to chain 1. Do your chain 1 after you slip stitch. All right, now let me add my stitch marker. All right, so the first stitch we are going to do a single crochet stitch into, and that's the stitch you slip stitched into. Go in the stitch. Now take your 2 end pieces and carry them on top your hook. All right, now yarn over, go under the end pieces and through the stitch. 2 loops remain, yarn over, go through those 2 loops. All right, next stitch is a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, carry your end pieces on top, yarn over, go under the end pieces through the stitch. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the final 2 loops. All right, now we're going to start the repeat for this round. The next stitch is a single crochet stitch. Go into that stitch, carry your yarn on top, yarn over, go under the end pieces through the stitch, yarn over, pull through both loops. Next stitch is a double crochet. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, carry your yarn on top, your end pieces, yarn over, go under the end pieces through the stitch, 3 loops remain, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the final 2 loops. And that is your repeat. All right, go into the next stitch and do a single crochet. And then the next stitch gets a double crochet. All right, and I'm going to finish weaving in the end pieces, and I'll meet back up with you once they're weaved in, and I'll show you the stitch without weaving in the yarn. Okay, I have weaved in my end pieces enough, so I'm going to trim the excess. Okay. So my last stitch here was a double crochet. So the next stitch, I do a single crochet, go in the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through both loops. Next stitch is a double crochet, yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the final 2. Again, single crochet into the next stitch, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through both loops. Now we double crochet into the next stitch, yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2 loops. And just keep repeating that. That's all we're doing for this round. So we're going to meet up when you have 1 stitch remaining. And we're going to work that last double crochet stitch and the last stitch together, because we will be incorporating a new color. So we'll meet back up there. Okay, you should have just did a single crochet stitch and you have 1 stitch remaining. So we're going to work a double crochet into that last stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops. All right, so we're going to be incorporating our our 4th color now, color 4. And for me, I'm going to be using lavender. Now, we are not going to cut this color here, color 3, because we are going to be going back and forth each round between these two colors, so we're not going to cut it. All right, so grab color 4, wrap it around your hook, and again, your tail should be on the left side. Leave a long enough tail to weave in, and then pull the new color through those 2 loops. All right. And I'm tugging my other color. All right. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. All right, so we finished round 10. Now we're doing round 11. So chain 1. Let's move our stitch marker. All right, I'm just trying to get everything snug. All right, so the first stitch we are going to work a double crochet stitch into. So yarn over, go into that first stitch where you slip stitched into. Now grab your end piece. You're just going to have one end piece. Okay, so lay that on top, yarn over, go under the end piece and through the stitch. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through both loops. Okay, next stitch we single crochet into. Go into the stitch, carry your end piece on top. And remember, it's just one end piece you're carrying. Yarn over, go under the end piece through the stitch. 2 loops remain. Yarn over, go through both loops. All right. Now you double crochet into the next stitch. Single into the next. And that's your repeat. You double into the next. Single into the next. And you'll notice where you do your double crochet stitch, it's the single crochet stitch of the previous round. And where you do your single crochet stitch, it's the double crochet stitch of the previous round. All right, let me cut the end piece. All right. So we double crochet into the next stitch, which is our single crochet stitch from the previous round. Then you single crochet into the double crochet stitch of the previous round. All right. Double crochet and then single crochet. All right, and just keep doing this all the way around, and we will work the last stitch together because we will be changing colors again. So we'll meet back up there. Okay, you should have just done a double crochet stitch and have 1 stitch remaining. Go into that last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops. Now drop color 4. And now you're going to grab color 3. Okay, yarn over, and go through both loops. Now you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round, okay, and you have completed round 11. So we are going to work round 10 and 11 one more time on camera. That way you get more practice with these rounds. So we are officially starting round 12, which is a repeat of round 10. All right, so chain 1, move your stitch marker. All right, so in that first stitch that you slip stitched into, we will be working a slip stitch. I'm sorry, a single crochet. We are working a single crochet. Okay. The second stitch gets a double crochet. And then the next stitch is a single crochet. And the next stitch gets a double crochet. And you just keep repeating that. Single crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next. And do this all the way around. And we'll work the last stitch together because we will be changing colors again. See you there. Okay, you should have just done a single crochet stitch and have one stitch remaining. In that last stitch, we're going to work a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through 2 loops remain. Now you're going to drop color 3 and you are going to pick up color 4 and yarn over and go through the final 2 loops and then slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. All right, so that completes round 12. Round 13 is going to be a repeat of round 11. So we're going to chain 1, move our stitch marker. All right, in the first stitch that we just slip stitched into, we are going to work a double crochet stitch. And the next stitch gets a single crochet stitch. All right, next stitch is a double crochet stitch. And the next stitch gets a single crochet stitch. All right, and you just keep repeating this. Next stitch is a double crochet stitch. And the next stitch is a single crochet stitch. All right, just keep repeating this around and we will work the last stitch together and we'll meet back up there. Okay, you should have just done a double crochet stitch and have 1 stitch remaining. So we're going to single crochet into that last stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops remain. You're going to drop color 4 and pick color 3 back up. All right, yarn over, go through the final 2 loops, and then slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. All right, so you have just finished round 13. So now you are going to repeat round 10 and 11 2 more times. So when we meet back up, you will have completed round 17. Well, don't work the last stitch of round 17. We're going to work that stitch together because we will be changing colors again. So that's where we're going to meet back up. And I want to point out a few things. Anytime you're doing a round 10 repeat, you will be using color 3. Anytime you do a round 11 repeat, you will be using color 4. So make sure you switch colors at the end of your rounds. And when you get to the end, you slip stitch to join. And then when you start the next round, you do your chain 1 and move your stitch marker. So we'll meet back up when you have 1 stitch of round 17 left to do. Okay, you should be reaching towards the end of round 17 with 1 stitch remaining. And we are going to single crochet into that last stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop with 2 loops remaining. And you will need to cut your yarn. I already did. And if you didn't cut your yarn for color 3 already, go ahead and cut that. You may have weaved it in as you went along. If you didn't, we'll be weaving it in at the end. All right. Now I'm going to grab color 2 again. Okay, just lay it on top of your hook, your tail on the left side, leave a long enough tail to weave in, and then pull it through those final 2 loops. All right, let's kind of tighten stuff up here. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And we have completed round 17. All right, round 18, we're going to do our chain 1. And this is an easy round. This is a round of half double crochet stitches. And this is regular half double crochet stitches, where you go under the front and the back loop, like you normally would. All right. So you yarn over, go into that first stitch, the one that you slip stitched into, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Again, you yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through those 3 loops. And you just keep doing your half double crochet stitches all the way around. And we will be changing colors. So we'll do the last stitch together. So we'll meet back up once you have 71 half double crochet stitches. And we'll work the 72nd stitch together. Okay, you should have 1 stitch remaining. So we're going to yarn over, go into that last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now, I'm not going to cut my yarn because after the next round, we're going to go right back to this yarn. Okay, so let's grab color 1. Wrap it around your hook. Remember, your end piece always is on the left side, and leave a long enough tail. All right, pull through those remaining 3 loops. And let me find my yarn. All right, I'm going to give my end pieces and all a yank. Try to get things snugger here. All right. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. All right. So now for round 19, we're going to chain 1. Move your stitch marker. So for round 19, we are going to be doing half double crochet into the 3rd loop. So I'm going to refresh your memory about that 3rd loop. All right, turn your work over. And if you notice right here, that's your 3rd loop, 3rd loop, 3rd loop, 3rd loop. It's directly below your back loop. Okay. All right, so I'm going to yarn over, go into that 3rd loop. I'm going to find my end piece, carry it on top, yarn over, go under the end piece through the 3rd loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. All right, again, yarn over, find your 3rd loop, carry your yarn on top, your end piece, yarn over, go under the end piece through the 3rd loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And we've done this before, so you should by now be pretty familiar with how to do this. And just keep doing your half double crochet stitches into the 3rd loop. Finish carrying your yarn and then give it a trim. And then continue with the stitch. And we'll meet back up once you have 71 stitches. We'll work that last stitch together because we will be changing colors again. Okay, you should have 1 stitch remaining. So we're going to yarn over, go into that last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now, I'm not going to cut my yarn because after the next round, we're going to go right back to this yarn. Okay, so let's grab color 1, wrap it around your hook. Remember, your end piece always is on the left side and leave a long enough tail. All right, pull through those remaining 3 loops. And let me find my yarn. All right, I'm going to give my end pieces and all a yank. Try to get things snugger here. All right. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. All right. So now for round 19, we're going to chain 1. Move your stitch marker. So for round 19, we are going to be doing half double crochet into the 3rd loop. So I'm going to refresh your memory about that 3rd loop. All right, turn your work over. And if you notice right here, that's your 3rd loop, 3rd loop, 3rd loop, 3rd loop. It's directly below your back loop. Okay. All right, so I'm going to yarn over, go into that third loop. I'm going to find my end piece, carry it on top, yarn over, go under the end piece through the third loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. All right, again, yarn over, find your third loop, carry your yarn on top, your end piece, yarn over, go under the end piece through the third loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And we've done this before, so you should by now be pretty familiar with how to do this. And just keep doing your half double crochet stitches into the third loop. Finish carrying your yarn and then give it a trim. And then continue with the stitch. And we'll meet back up once you have 71 stitches. We'll work that last stitch together because we will be changing colors again. Okay, we are approaching the end of round 19. You should have 1 stitch remaining, and we are going to do a half double crochet stitch in the third loop. So yarn over, go into your third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have your 3 loops remaining. Now you want to drop color 1 and grab color 2 and yarn over and finish that stitch. And again, we are not cutting any yarn here. All right, now we slip stitch to join. All right, and we have finished round 19. So for round 20, we're going to do our chain 1, move our stitch marker, and round 20 is another round of half double crochet stitches in the third loop. So it's the same thing we did on the last round. You yarn over, find your third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And let me get my other color out of my way. All right, and just keep doing your half double crochet stitches into the third loop. And we will meet back up once you have 71 half double crochet stitches in the third loop done. And we'll work the last one together because we will be changing colors one last time. Okay, we are towards the end of round 20. You should have 1 stitch remaining. So you're going to yarn over, go into that third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops remain. Now you're going to want to cut your yarn for color 2. We're going to go back now and grab color 1. Yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Now we're going to slip stitch to join. You're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round where the stitch marker is. All right, and we have finished round 20. Now for round 21, you're going to chain 1. And actually, round 21 and 22 are the same. You're just going to be single crocheting into every stitch for both of these rounds. And these are the final 2 rounds. All right, go into the same stitch that you slip stitched into. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops remain, yarn over, go through both loops. And you just keep single crocheting. And you're going to do this all the way around. When you get to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch to join. Then you'll start round 22. You'll do your chain 1. And then you slip stitch into, then you single crochet into every stitch. Then you slip stitch to join, and that is where we're going to meet back up. I'll see you there. Okay, I am at the end of round 22. And I'm about to do my slip stitch to join and fasten off. And I wanted to show how to fasten off in case you don't know how to do that. So I am going to cut my yarn. Leave a long enough tail to be able to do your slip stitch and weave in your end. And I always say it's better to have too much of an end than not enough. All right. So I'm going to go into that stitch to join, yarn over, go through all your loops and just keep pulling it out. And that's how you fasten off. All right, now it's time to weave in your ends. So let's turn the hat inside out. And you may have more ends to weave in than me. You may have less. There's different methods to how to take care of your end pieces. You'll notice sometimes I carried the yarn over with the next round. Sometimes I carried it up, especially if you were going to go right back on the next row to the previous color. And sometimes I forgot. All right. So take your darning needle, thread your darning needle, and go through some stitches. And the main thing whenever you weave in your ends, make sure that it doesn't show on the front side. That is the main thing. So I went through one way. Now I'm going back the other way. And I don't go back in the last stitch that I went through because it'll just come right out. So I'll go back the other direction. All right. Then I'll go one more time in the original direction. I skipped the first one and just go through the rest. And some people can weave in ends neater than others. To me, this is on the inside of your beanie, so the main objective is that your stitches don't come out. Nobody's looking at the inside of your beanie, so if it isn't the neatest, it's not a big deal. And just continue to weave in your ends, and we'll meet back up once your ends are weaved in. Okay, you should have all of your ends weaved in now. So now we're going to turn it back to the proper position. And if you want to add a palm to your beanie, you can add a palm. But yeah, we are finished. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's tutorial. Let me know if you plan to make this beanie or if you make this beanie. I'd also love to know what colorway you use or plan to use. Let me know that in the comments. And if you do make the beanie, I'd love to see a picture of it. You can send your pictures to justanotherstitch2020@gmail.com. All right, now it's time to leave a keyword. And this is for a giveaway that I am doing for the month of March in the year 2025. When you watch this video, this giveaway may or may not still be going on. But I leave a keyword, and you put that keyword in your comment, and I will pick 5 people randomly, and each of those 5 people will get 5 extra entries. And the keyword for this video is gray. Gray is the keyword, and I'll pick 5 people randomly. Each of those 5 people will get 5 extra entries into March's giveaway. Spring is in the air. So I hope everyone has a fabulous yarny day. Bye, everyone.